inside. Like dead things come alive.
We are, if you are anywhere else, I know we're streaming on several platforms, and I'll try to pull a couple of them up here. But if you are looking to ask us questions, that is on the Facebook page, IndieWrestling.us Facebook page, and keep an eye out that and try to roll some comments in here as we go. Twitch, not Twitter. I'll try to pull up the Twitch as well. So there it is. Shows good. All right, let's do it.
Let's make it happen.
Hey guys, it's the Indie Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorgatron on the Twitter here on this sunny afternoon in Peachview if you're joining us on video. The Indie Mayhem Show is the show where we talk about people in and around, I can't just qualify independent professional wrestling, but we got somebody that I know from independent professional wrestling today. But actually, what he's doing may be the most independent thing, and we'll get into that as well. But first, please check out everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com, IndieWrestling.us, where you can find past episodes and many other. Also, with a lot of the people we talked to, including our guest today, actually, a lot of history around these parts in the vault, if you will. But with us and I think this is a first that we've had a major company champion in the studio with us while they've been champion. Shane Taylor is here in studio. Shane, how's it going?
It's going great, man, but I need a better introduction than that, my guy. I am the Ring of Honor World Television Champion. You have to say the whole thing. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. The whole thing has to come before it, a.k.a. Shane T. Boy, the baddest champion you've ever seen, boy. It's good to be here.
I'm not up on all the monikers. I'm sorry.
Listen, man, you got to stay ready. You have to stay.
This has become, we've literally had you in, this is the fourth year in a row we've had you in. Yeah. We've had a yearly catch up with you.
I'm a mainstay. I like it.
From even before you were in Ring of Honor.
Recurring character.
A recurring character on the show. We've been saying a lot on the show. If you know the lore of this show.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's been an amazing year. You're of course the ROH Ring of Honor TV champion as of this recording. World TV champion.
Right.
I noticed that.
You can't forget it.
I'm just did they I'm hearing your announcer saying world champion when they're talking about wait, did he forget to say TV? Did I miss that? But is TV world champion?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been forgotten a lot, or not as emphasized, I suppose, in the past.
Well, and that's everything that I'm trying to do is bring the recognition of that back. Mm-hmm. The identity and the heart and the passion of ROH has always been, prefaced on their championships and the meaning of them, the prestige of them. And every day that I hold this championship, I am trying to rekindle that and respark that. I want people when they come to a Ring of Honor show, when they watch me out there performing, when they see Shane Taylor Promotions, I want them to know, regardless of who else is on the card, regardless of any other match on the show, that when they watch my match, that's going to be the fight of the night. That's going to be the biggest knockdown, drag out, to steal a phrase, slobber knocker sort of match that they're going to see that night. And I take great pride in that. And I've been doing that all year. There haven't been more people on any roster putting out match of the year candidates like I have been doing. So I fully want to bring back that feel like when you saw Danielson and Joe, or Joe and McGinnis, or Joe Punk, any of those matches. I want that same feeling. I want that same lore when it comes to when I have this championship and when I come out.
That's always been the difference with Ring of Honor. No matter how big, whatever stage Ring of Honor has been at, it's always been a big fight feel when you go to these events, especially when there is it seems like when there's a championship match, even a television championship match, world championship match over the years, it's a different level, than the rest of the card, and even other companies, it seems, on their world title scene. So,
and the crazy thing about that, and I think it's because it's so hard to win a championship in Ring of Honor, especially a singles one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not many guys that can win them multiple times.
It's shocking when you see a title change. It's the last place where it's literally shocking to see that.
Right. What I mean? So you have things like you'll have guys, who are 8-time this and this champions, 9-time this and this champion. There's only been, I think, 3 people that have ever won the ring, maybe 4 that have ever won the Ring of Honor World Television Championship twice. Kenny King, Silas Young, Jay Lethal. Those are the first 3 off the top of my head. Maybe Roddy Strong. I'm not 100% sure. But so, I mean, and there's even less than that have won the World Championship twice. Mm-hmm. So, everything you do with that first run, everything you do and the legacy that you make with that first run could be it, which is why they're so important, which is why, I want to do so much with this championship and to make this championship the one that people go, okay, I understand that they're fighting for the world title, but that guy is about to have the biggest fight on the show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It definitely. So it is interesting because, looking at Shane Taylor Promotions and everything you've been doing in the last 6 months to a year, it feels like it has always felt like shows seen here, and I know you had a great match in April that I know I missed because of traveling. We're just talking about traveling before the show.
You said we were gonna.
I think I was in California.
That's all right.
If I'm going to go anywhere and miss it, but it's like I had been saying like, I go sit down and try to catch up a little bit on Ring of Honor and where Shane Taylor has been the thing for the longest time. Yeah. And I go see a show here in Pittsburgh with Shane Taylor, and I remember, I think the only Ring of Honor show I've actually seen you on, you did some run-in with your former faction,
right?
Like a year ago or something,
right.
And I was just like, I finally get to see him. Oh, that's it.
Exactly.
So, and now to see you like kind of really rocking on the card and a part of like all the shows this weekend, and it seems to be in significant roles. I mean, it's really been a 180 since having you on here just even a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, like that was the whole point. I've been in Ring of Honor for 3 years, and like I've told people that have asked me, I feel like this is my first real year there. Because this is not, me on an 8-man or 10-man tag. And not to get me wrong and not, for people to not understand where I'm coming from, anytime you're in a major company, when you're on the card, when you're on the show, it's a blessing. Yeah. Like, okay, we get it. You work your ass off to get to this point, and even being here or being signed is a great thing. I get that. But I'm not the type of person to just be happy with being somewhere. I've never done that. It's not who I am. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to do something, I'm striving to be the best at it. I'm striving to be the greatest that has ever done it. Like, that's just what my mindset is. So, and if you look at companies as teams, I've always been a starter. I've always been a varsity guy. I've never been a bench player. I've never been a role player. In order for me to do what I need to do and be who I need to be in the game. Mm. I can't help you on the sideline. And for 2.5 years, that's exactly what it felt like, where it felt like I was on the sideline. Seeing my guys go to battle and I can't help them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that messes with you mentally. Like guys like me, people like me, we don't do well in those environments. You start getting angry, you start getting, and I'm the worst person you want to go against with a chip on my shoulder. Like, you know what I mean? Ask Ray Rowe, ask Keith Lee. Like, they know me, so they know once I get in a certain frame of mind, it's like, all right, we can't do anything with this guy right now. Just wait for him to calm down. You know what I mean? But now, over the past 6 months, that I've had this championship, that I've started Shane Taylor Promotions, I now get to have that platform, and it's something that I had to create myself, because it wasn't going to be handed to me. So and now that I have it, I've done nothing but produce. I've done nothing but show why for 2.5 years I've been saying, I'm the best kept secret you have, and I've gone out and proven that every single time that I'm in the ring.
It is. It's so. And again, us watching us, again, knowing you from Renegade Wrestling Alliance, IWC, or other places through the indies that we've seen you at. We're talking on Wheels here, earlier. They pop in the chat room. And it's always like, oh, wait till they get to that thing. We thought that with Ray Rowe. We've thought that with now Elias, and look at those guys just blow up.
Right.
And
so happy for them,
and that's
too.
where you're at too. Which is, on a side note, it's also really cool to see. Like, I talked about you on social media a little bit, but like seeing you and Eric,
Right.
it's always weird to me. Eric with a K.
Yeah.
You're always Ray Rowe to me.
Always. Always.
Just like Elias is always Logan Shulo to us
Right.
around here,
Shulo?
Yes, Shulo. We used to yell at but you guys are still like, kind of patting each other on the back there. I got each other's backs, regardless of where you're at. And that's really cool to see.
Of course.
So, Shane Taylor Promotions. We talked about it a little bit pre-show because I wanted to get an idea of the scope of this thing.
Right.
Because I see what you're putting out there, and you've never wanted to mince words on anything.
Never, boy.
That's why it's always interesting to give you a live mic here on the internet.
Oh man. But I'm smarter now at 33 than I would in a situation at like 23.
Well, I did clear a couple topics with you, so we'll see where this goes.
Right.
Let's
have some fun, boy.
But before that, I want to talk about the Shane Taylor Promotions. Like, how big is this? Like, I always see, everybody eats. I'm seeing you guys, the talent scouting at other promotions and everything like that. It's not just you. You're obviously the front man for this thing.
Right.
Name's in the title, guys.
Yeah, man.
Like talk to me about the scale and what you're doing beyond just being, the best Ring of Honor World Television Champion.
What Shane Taylor Promotions and what my goals and what my visions are to be able to take my brand and help not only change careers in professional wrestling, but help change lives. There's so many people that, especially in today's era of social media, it seems like just do the craziest thing or say the most outlandish thing to get noticed and create some buzz, yada, yada, yada. But for me, especially being an African-American male in this sport, there's a lot of times and a lot of people that go unnoticed, So for me, one match I think changed the entire course of my ROH career, and that was the match in Philadelphia with Jeff Cobb last year.
Yes.
And if I don't have that match, who knows where we're at this year? Who knows? I may not be sitting here with this World Television Championship. So many things can stem off of having one great match. And so for me, it's all about creating opportunity. So if I have the chance and I can build this platform to help the next person, whether they be from Cleveland or Pittsburgh or wherever, to go, hey, I have this opportunity to go to this country. I would love to be able to have them represent the brand, sponsor them, have them, sponsor that travel to get them to where they have to go, let them perform, let them have those experiences that can, ultimately change their career. I want to be able to have a whole team of people from every background, who are not only great at what they do in ring, but are pillars of the community outside of it. That doesn't mean you have to be, perfect people. Nobody's perfect. I'm no exception. But in today's day and age, with so many things going on, with so many issues, I need people that are socially aware, culturally aware, who can not only, showcase themselves in a positive light, but showcase the brand in a positive light, and we can help each other change the game going forward. We can help each other, change the entire scope of how, especially as African-American performers, we're perceived not only in this sport, but in media and all around the world.
Absolutely. And it's something that is it seems like we didn't plan this. We talked about this 3 weeks ago getting you on here, but there's a lot of that in the news this week.
Yeah,
obviously.
Right.
Starting with, I believe it was Sunday, Jordan Miles had a comment about some issues with some merchandise in WWE.
Right.
And I think I've seen some things on social media from you and everything like that. Like, when you see something like that come down from the biggest company in the land for everything like that. What are your thoughts when you see that coming across your Twitter feed on Sunday and into Monday and through the week? I guess it's still developing.
Right, it's still going. I'm the kind of person that likes to sort of get a lot of details about things before I say anything.
Yes.
Which is why I put out the blanket statement first, just saying, like, regardless of whatever, there's not that many of us, and when I say us, I'm talking about African American performers at the top of what we do. For us to have guys there, and for us to try to move forward and create more opportunities and more doors for others, the last thing we need is to be cutting each other down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Regardless of the situation, that can't happen in order for us to try to move forward. But on to the topic of the shirt, and I think everybody at this point, is of the same agreement that it's an insensitive shirt. It definitely shouldn't have been produced. It shouldn't have been. The idea shouldn't have been there. So that much.
It at the very least should not have made it onto a website.
It shouldn't have.
For sale.
It shouldn't have. And from what I've gathered, they said they didn't sell any.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They changed it, the whole nine. But and I had a statement that I'll put out officially, but I think this speaks to a bigger problem in society, much more. I mean, in wrestling, yes, but in society as well, because when you're in this sport, you're trying to market to everybody. The problem is you can't market to everybody if you don't have everybody represented on your marketing team, right? You have to have people, a wide array of people that know cultures, that know these things, that know the history of these things, to prevent situations like this from happening. Because I guarantee if there was someone on that team, what have you, and no one knows the heart of the guy that, or whoever that designed the shirt. So I can't sit here and go, oh, well, he should have known. He could have just been like, hey, well, he's smiling. Let's just make a smiling shirt because he's smiling.
Yeah. And it could be the guy doesn't know what he, or
right,
girl doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Exactly. And to me, I can't get mad at anyone for not knowing what they don't know.
Yeah.
It's when you do know and you do it anyway.
Right.
Now we have a problem, right?
Right.
So no one knows their heart but them, right? But if there was someone on that team that was knowledgeable in these things and goes, yeah, that looks like this, that's going to be a problem, let's not put that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could have saved yourself a lot of trouble, a lot of, all the backlash, everything that's going on. But in society, it's an even larger problem as well when you deal with, especially things with race and cultural things, because in society, as an African American male, we are showcased in a way that makes you think one of two things. Either we are the super aggressive uber thug, that's going to rob you and, steal all your women and and we're coming for your daughters and all of that, and you play into that fear. Or it's the complete opposite, and it's the Carlton Bankses of the world, and we're just so nice and fun loving, and we're gonna dance, and there's no 99% of black culture are neither of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can tell it's somebody, again, a less diverse top of the company that thinks this is, you be, your culture, which means this to us,
right? Because
and
it's the conditioning.
Yeah,
you're conditioned to think that way.
Yeah.
When I think, or if I were to say, doctor, lawyer, you know what I mean? The first image in someone's head isn't someone that looks like me. You know what I mean? But if I were to say, rapper, pimp, right away, and that's what guys like myself and other people are trying so hard to change, because especially in wrestling, we can have depth of character. We can have guys that can overcome all odds and be the hero. We can have the soldiers. We can have the doctors. We can have the lawyers. We can have all of that. One of the biggest issues is that it's not presented as being cool or presented as the norm, when in fact it is. You know what I mean? The biggest rate of college graduate right now in the U.S. are black women, right? So it's like we're educated. There's so much more to our culture than what is shown to you. And in today's ever-changing PC world, and in today's world of, people wanting things fast, sometimes the easiest thing for people to do, if you're trying to come up with a character to sell T-shirts or a character that's going to catch on, is to feed into those conditions and go, okay, well, this is what people know, so let's go with this, as opposed to creating a character with depth that may take longer. It may take people longer to grasp, but that's the point. It's opening up minds. It's opening up hearts to new thoughts, new ways of looking at things, new perspectives. And I did a promo on this in October. October. Where were we at? I forget, but I did the promo in ring on the pay-per-view, going 12 years ago. This is what I was told. If I wanted to make cash in this business, I had to be one of two things. Yeah. Both those options suck. Mm-hmm. Because I'm neither of those things. Yes, I've done things in the streets for survival. I've been there. I've lived that life. I know, I've got family who's done it, friends. I've seen the bad and the worst when it comes to that. But that's not how I'm going to be defined, and I'm not the other one either. Because in my world, in today's society with social media is a little different because, we've been conditioned to say whatever we want with no fear of consequence, right? You can just say whatever you want. Some dude in BFE, Indiana, can run his mouth to me on Twitter or Instagram and Facebook and be ha ha ha. But if I were to see you in Cleveland, I'd slap you in the mouth for that. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the world I live in. That's the world I come from. So it's a dangerous thing to play with when you're talking about these things, because I'm not that docile house cat. I'm not going to sit there and smile. It's not what I do. You disrespect me, we have a problem. If you talk to me like you got sense, then we can talk like men. And for me, it's far more important to talk about who I want to be and who I'm trying to be, as opposed to who I was. That limits the idea that you can grow as a person, that you can change in your life. There's a great quote from Ali, and I'm gonna paraphrase it, that says, if you think the same way you did at 50 that you did at 30, then you wasted 20 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But in today's era, you lock people into a time in their life and act like they can't grow, act like they can't learn. They act like they can't change as people. Okay, you can make mistakes and say dumb things when you're in your 20s. And then in your 30s go, damn, that was stupid. But now people got screenshots and receipts, and they, well, you said, so you must feel like that was 15 years ago, homie.
Yeah, we got 15 years of Facebook to pull things up, and it's kicking people off movies and who knows what else, right?
Like it's changing careers, and it's like, what world do we live in where everyone doesn't have something that they regret saying or that they regret doing? I'm sure if we turn the cameras off, there's a laundry list of for both of us. Like, I definitely changed that. I wouldn't have said that. Wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? But that's part of life, man. Is living, learning, and growing from those mistakes. I don't know any perfect people.
Yet still owning those mistakes
and owning them, exactly. Like, okay, this is I did that. I said that. You know what I mean? I've learned since then. You know what I mean? And you can do your best to be like, hey, I'm not really an apology guy, because I feel like anything that I've said, especially when it comes to the topics that I talk about, I feel like I'm knowledgeable in, and I said them with intent. The intent may not be what you thought it was, or what you perceive it to be, but I know what I said, and how it was meant. But yeah, man, there's more to us, and there's more to this culture than what's shown and what's profited from, because and it's just trying to bring that respect and notoriety and balance to this whole thing, because black culture is very popular. Music, clothes, party scenes, what you drink, what you eat, those things can create whole industries, right? But it seems like the respect and the admiration and the benefits from that profitability don't always come to the people that provide it. You know what I mean? So And I think personally changing how people perceive who we are is a key part of that.
It seems like the news is all over the place this weekend. Your name got brought up. We were talking about it a little bit before the show too. Joey Mercury, most know from backstage and I guess several companies at this point, including on screen at WWE years ago. Mentioned you. I have the article up from 411 Mania. I think they're paraphrasing his comments here, but he apparently claims that Shane Taylor will not be re-signed and will be out of the company at the beginning of the year. And I understand this is news to you.
Well, I mean, my thing is this is
part of a kind of a rant against Ring of Honor on his exit, apparently.
Right.
So again,
you
framing the situation.
Take everything with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? But this is why I created Shane Taylor Promotions in the first place, and why I've said from the gate, why would I beg for food at somebody else's table?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I not just have my own table, have my own house? And with the partnership that I signed with them, if they decide not to renew that for another year, then cool. That's I will take my partnership elsewhere.
You have something you're building that you can take wherever you need.
Exactly. This is bigger than me. So for me, this is. I know what I've done. I know who I am. I know what I produce, and I know that that's a talent that that people want and that people need. They just have to figure out if that's something that they want to have. You know what I mean? But it's you take everything with a grain of salt. He could be lying. He could be telling the truth. They could be lying. They could be telling the truth.
It could be a comment taken out of context.
It could be exactly. You know what I mean? My thing is, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family, regardless of what it is. But that's why I preach on entrepreneurship, owning your own name, being your own person, so that you can't be dragged down by something like this. Whatever they decide to do is whatever they decide to do. I, with my company, will do what's in my best interest.
It's definitely an age. I mean, entrepreneurship has been the cool thing for about 20 years now, it seems, and I like to see that coming into wrestling and seeing. We've seen several groups to interesting successes betting on themselves, right? This day and age, and that seems to be this is your turn.
Exactly.
To do that, and it sounds like you're jumping right on that.
Exactly, and I mean, and this is something that, once again, I look to not only take to another company if that's the case, but to take worldwide. There's people all over the world, who feel the way that I do, who want to make a change and have the guts enough to stand up and do so. A lot of people, don't speak out about a lot of these issues, whether it be, things like the shirt or police brutality or things like that, because they're worried about, the effect that it's going to have on their check. And as long as people can control you that way, nothing's going to change. Right. You have to be able to lead by example, even if that means, some people don't get theirs, like look at, the guy that created free agency. He never got a big payday, but now look at what happened because of him. Now you've got people to be able to go, oh wow, I can do this, or go here. You changed you changed sports forever. I mean, just based off what you did, and that kind of legacy, is what I'm all about. So much of what I do now is it's past social media stuff. I mean, it's past being, popular in this fake world. You know what I mean? Like, I am chasing greatness that, that Muhammad Ali had, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, Arthur Ashe, Jackie Robinson, Roberto Clemente, legacy that goes far beyond what anybody can quantify or what style of wrestling that you like. You know what I mean? This is just me trying to write my name in history. I want history to remember who I am. and this is how I'm going to do it.
It was an interesting comment. Again, I think it's just popped up on your social media today, or at least in my feed. You were talking about, there's no difference between what you see and real me. And that's interesting as we talk to younger wrestlers and say, well, who are you here? Who are you here?
Right.
But and I know, knowing you for, she's probably known you for nearly 10 years now.
Right.
Like talking to you, this is
Same
I'm
guy.
literally seeing the guy that I've talked to for 10 years
Right.
on my screen, on my social media feed for Ring of Honor, carrying that belt around.
Exactly, and that's all I can ever be. You have so many people, and I've seen it, man. And I don't operate in that fake world, man. I can't do it. You'll have people that put on a great smile, and they'll laugh and joke and shake hands and kiss babies and do all this stuff. And as soon as that person leaves, man, screw that guy. I hate this town. These people suck. It's like, how can you like if I had an issue with you, you're gonna know we have an issue, and that's just what it's going to be. Look, man, and until we solve the issue, that's what it's going to be.
Trust
right?
me, we've had issues.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just
why are you in my way?
Right. You know what I mean? Move, my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just and so many people establish these fake personalities and these fake lives for themselves. It's like, that's not you. You don't really live like that. You don't really talk like that. You don't do those things, right? Everything that I do and everything that you see of me online is who I am in real life. I talk about these things. I go to these events. I go to schools and talk to kids. I am involved with these things in my community. I do all these things. I am the very same guy that you see on the screen. If you wanted to fight, and I said, all right, I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna put you to sleep. That's what I do. That's all I've done my entire life. And so now that's how I provide for my family. So yes, it may be a harder person for people to recognize and understand from a wrestling standpoint, but this is what I mean by saying depth of character. I am every bit of a guy that you can hate, but at the same time, if you come from where I come from, you're gonna love me because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm going through because you went through it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can be a husband and a father, and I can be a best friend, and I can be a guy that's gonna knock your teeth out and not lose any sleep about it. I can be all those things. I can whoop your ass on the street or in the boardroom. It makes me no difference. You know what I mean? That's who I am. And presenting that in professional wrestling, it seems like when it comes to us, like, oh, well, just keep it simple. No, simple is not what I want. You can have other people who have depth of character and have, things that they can go here with it or go here or go here. And there's no reason why I can't do the same. All it takes is for people to stop being lazy.
So again, you're here. You're in Pittsburgh. This is a bit of beat from Cleveland, but a lot of your growing career really happened here in
East
Pittsburgh.
Side, Cleveland. What's going on, people? What's going on, people?
So this really is where a lot of your growth happened. Like I mentioned, RWA, IWC here in the area. You're down at Stage AE, and what is it like to kind of come back and be in front of that audience that maybe know your history?
Right. I mean, it's always really cool to come back and people appreciate the work that you've done and they're supportive and they make their voices heard when I come out. And that always feels good to know that, the years that you've put into this matter to people, because at the end of the day, when all the lights go out and, and the crowds are gone, all you're left with is how you made people feel. You know what I mean? And for me, I want, whether they cheered or booed, loved me or hated me, I want them to go, regardless of all that, damn, he was excellent at what he did. You know what I mean? And that's all I want, man. It's just for people to go, when I saw him, I saw what this sport could be at its best.
Excellent. So you are, I believe, if my math is right, just under 6 months being champion. I think it was May.
Creeping up.
That you got that.
Creeping up.
And I think you were here in April, and I think you had a match, if I got my notes right, against Bandito. So To paraphrase my usual question,
Right.
what is the best and worst thing about being the Ring of Honor World Television Champion?
The worst thing about being Ring of Honor World Television Champion is people assume that whoever the Ring of Honor World Champion is, with that being Roosh now, that somehow they're above me, and they're not.
Roosh seemed to come out of nowhere too.
Yeah, and that's a credit to who he is. Mm-hmm. It's a credit to his team. It's a credit to their game plan, and it's a phenomenal game plan. He's earned every bit of success as mi hermano. But that's why, from my mentality, I had such a difficult time being on the sideline for 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. Because in my head, if you want to make someone a star, you can. You're just choosing not to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it goes, and I understand there's limited spots. Guys are here, guys leave, more opportunities arise. I get it. But it seems like when you really want to do something, you find a way. You see what I'm saying? So I really wanted to be out in the forefront, so I found a way. You know what I mean? And that's always sort of been the thing, is that the Ring of Honor World Champion is up here. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint everyone. The baddest man in Ring of Honor is not holding the Ring of Honor World Championship. The baddest man in Ring of Honor is the Ring of Honor World Television Champion, whether you like it or you don't. But the best thing about being champion is the look on my daughter's faces when I come home, to see the pride in their eyes, to see the fact that, my daughter knows how much this means to me, but she's starting to understand it a bit. And, the first thing that she did when I came home from the UK was I brought my bag in. The title was in my bag. She's like, "Daddy, do you still have that? Do you still have the belt?" And I was like, "Yes, I still got it." She's like, "Yeah." She just loses her mind. So for me, being able to show them not only what a real man is, but what a real champion looks like, to be able to show them by my example how to carry yourself, how to live your life, how to stick to your guns and live by your morals and live by your beliefs and stand by them no matter what. That's the best. And having this platform to be able to show that to not only kids around the world, but other people around the world, that's the best part of it. That's the best part of this, because I get to tell my message and use my platform to its utmost, which is what you're supposed to do when you have platforms like this. So to be able to get